Buddy Martin Show.
Tuesday.
Martin and Martin. And coming your way in just a second, standing by in the Orange Blue Room, David Whitley on the Buddy Martin Show live right here on YouTube.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ? I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening. Welcome to the program. I'm Buddy Martin, standing by Brenden Martin. Tonight, we'll be taking you through the next hour.
Hi.
He's back. Welcome.
Hi. How are you? Good to see you. What's going on? My hat's black. Your hat's white. That means I'm the bad guy and you're the good guy.
It means you took my black hat. So I mean, anyway, so
I
good to
didn't.
be with
This
you,
is-
folks. And we're going to get right to you as soon as the comedy act.
I stole your black hat, actually. Yeah, that's what a bad
I
guy
had my
does.
blue one too. That's not
What's a
which
back
nobody
one? No,
cares
Joe's got that
nobody
one.
cares about.
Joe's got that
Joe,
one.
nobody.
Joe Blackburn has got that one. And this is Brittany. She's Stella's friend. And she says hi.
Okay.
Hi, buddy. How are you? Good to see you.
If I could just open this show, it'd be great. David standing by. Program tonight brought to you by our friends at Titan MRI. Check them out. We'll tell you more about that in a minute. Tonight, discussion about a number of things, including expansion. I mean, Greg Sankey came on pretty strong today on the Paul Finebaum show in his statement about where they stand on that. It's still hard to believe the world came crumbling down just 48 hours ago, Brenden. The Pac-12 dissolved.
Gone.
An unbelievable time in college sports. We'll see where it all lands, but Greg Sankey today is saying they're in a safe place in the SEC.
All right. Well, that's exciting. I mean, if Greg Sankey says it, we're good, right? Safe place in the SEC.
Yeah, good news. The Rays won tonight, 4-2, beat the Cardinals. That's always means a good thing when the day starts like that. And we're looking forward to see what they're going to do out in California. The latest news is the ACC, this is a rumor now, not fact, is thinking about invitation to Stanford and Cal, two terrific universities in terms of academics, among the best. It would fit probably the better in the ACC with Duke and schools like that. But again, Brenden, it's all coast to coast now.
Well, I mean, like we talked about it earlier today when Kyle and I came on to do our practice report. Thanks for Kyle for doing that. He'll be back on later tonight. We've been talking about it a bunch on GatorbaitMedia.com, different sort of conversations going on around it. I think there's mixed signal. Kyle made some good points about. I think it's exciting to see some of these teams play each other. East Coast, West Coast rivalry. Do I think it's good for college football? Probably not. But end of the day, I think it is what it is, and we don't have much control over it, do we, buddy?
Well, what we said the other day, and everybody agrees, and they kick it off. They play that game in Salt Lake, and the Gators are teeing it up against the Utes. We won't care about NIL or anything else. We just have football, and that's where it starts. Let's welcome in our sponsor and go get David. Titan MRI is worth the short drive to Gainesville. No insurance is no problem. You can pay with cash or card. Same-day scheduling available. Start feeling better today because Titan MRI is North Central Florida's premier independent MRI facility. Come see why hundreds of patients are visiting our Gainesville location, both Calamarian County and the villages. That's TitanMRI.com. And there's David in the orange and blue room. Good evening there, Mr. Whitley. How you doing?
Good evening. I have a question, though.
Yes.
It's a little odd because Brendan's wearing the black hat, and I can read Gator bait because it's spelled left or right. But he's wearing the white hat, and your Gator bait is backwards. It's like you have dyslexia.
Yeah,
Well,
Brendan's got some kind of magic going on here.
No, but Buddy actually, because we've been streaming so long and we first started this out, the cameras didn't mirror. So Buddy got used to it being reversed. And
It's my fault. Whatever it is, it's my fault, David.
So we have to leave his camera a certain way, and I have to have mine the certain way. See, these are the little things I
want to make sure Brendan's is right. Mine's got to be backwards. That's okay, as long as Brendan's is right. So
he's in a surly mood, David. You got to watch out for him tonight.
I want you both look good, though. That's the key thing.
And I feel good.
You look good. Well, there's something else there. I don't know what that is.
Well, I just want to talk about Gatorbait Media. If you guys don't know anything about it, you should go to GatorbaitMedia.com and check it out. You get to read Buddy Martin, and you get to read everybody else. Check out GatorbaitMedia.com. Subscribe today.
All right, some comments already on our new YouTube board. Robert Turner checking in, along with Ellis Hull, Scotty Lutz, some of our old friends. Michael Burton, our good friend, Ho Nelly, he says. David Arnold, our good friend.
David, good guy.
Thought the Big 12 would have folded a long time ago before the back 10. I think you're right. I did. Keith Jackson is rolling over. Correct. Michael Burton says again, how do we get Buddy backwards tonight? Well, that's the question only Brenden could answer. Let's see. Buck Wade, go Gators. Dilly Dilly. Terry Johnson, go Gators. 845 Gorilla.
Yeah, he was on earlier today.
Hey, buddy. Dilly Dilly. And then Becky Carlisle, usually first one in. Tonight she was second, I think. She says good evening. So, David, all the talk about college football, it kind of feels like it's just a bunch of carcasses out there in California now. Whoever knew this is going to happen, huh?
Well, you could see the handwriting on the wall starting about last Thursday. But until then, I didn't ever expect the Pac-10 to just totally Pac-12, Pac-8. Well, when I grew up, it was the Pac-8, became the Pac-12. Now, it's the Pac-4, soon to be the Pac-0. It is amazing. I think that there will be business management courses taught on this whole thing and how it dissolved and basically how not to run a conference. And you can go back 10 years and just the step-by-step do an autopsy and see that pretty much every move they made was wrong and that the leadership, it's a shame that they can't sue Larry Scott, who was the original, not the original commissioner, but the guy commissioner for a long time. And then George Kliakoff, both of those guys for management malpractice. Because
that was what it was. Classic. Kliakoff, I think, probably more than any. He had some kind of new package based on Apple TV. That they were going to get $23 million or something like that. Or nearly that would have been great 30 years ago, but not now.
Well, and it may be great 30 years from now, but when you're an athletic director and you're making your budget, you need firm numbers. You can't say, well, I might be getting $23 million on TV, or I might be getting $37 million or something like that. Yeah. I know I'm getting. You can't do a budget like that. So these guys were. It sounded good, and I was amused. The president of Arizona State was saying how, he was. This is great. It's like a 23rd century Star Trek type thing, and said, well, yeah, calling Spock. It's not logical.
It's not logical. Are you a Trekkie, by the way?
No, I was a fan watching it back in the reruns in the 70s when you saw it on. Now, I sort of lost interest, about the second movie, though. It became a bit much. Yeah. And, the original I'm a fan of. The Next Generation I was. Then it's like Star Wars. There've been about 30 or 40 iterations since then. And I just totally lost it. I just know that they made peace with the Klingons. And to me, that was sort of like when Klinger stopped wearing a dress and MASH, it stopped being funny. So when they made peace with the Klingons,
that was it.
I couldn't really get into it anymore.
You're out.
Yeah.
Why don't y'all talk about something relevant like Bonanza?
And that Haas.
Haas, yeah. I like Haas. But best part about Bonanza, probably.
Yeah.
Nicest, the nicest big man ever, right?
What's the theme song?
Yeah. A lot of toxic masculinity.
Yeah. But that's we do a lot of that on this show.
Yeah. When you could do such things on TV,
that's good stuff.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
David, let's get back to a couple of basics here, okay? Of things that I picked up on today. we're holding on to all the tradition we can possibly get these days, right? Because it's going fast. Yet another one fell today in Atlanta. The Board of Regents, University of Cincinnati, Georgia, approved the name change at Bobby Dodd Stadium, one of the most famous names in college football, part of a multi-deal partnership in Georgia Tech and Hyundai.
Yeah.
$55 million over 20 years for the naming rights.
Mhm.
Well, I guess if you can do Ben Hill Gill, you can do Hyundai. Yellow Jackets now play at Bobby Dodd Stadium, Hyundai Field. There you go. Now, let me say, here's a little tradition they held on to. Let's hear an amen or something. I don't have the sound effects anymore. I can play a applause. First time in 6 years, Auburn will allow rolling at Auburn Oaks, Toomer's Corner this fall. Schools had fans stop the tradition 2 years ago. New trees were planted in 2017. Now Auburn has determined the oaks are established enough for the tradition to return. The original Auburn oaks planted in 1937-39 were removed from the corner in April of 2003 after being poisoned in 2010.
I remember that.
Yeah, he called. The guy called Fall Feinbaum show and told him. Yeah,
I remember that.
So rolling it to his corners. Some of the friends that we know have kids up there. So rolling it to his corner, David. One of those great traditions like the Tennessee River Navy, Tennessee Vol Navy. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, so tradition isn't dead.
Right.
You know, Toomer's Corner is back. That's a hearty. You know, you need that little tidbit of good news, when it seems like all traditions are going out the window. You know, the Bobby Dodd thing. It's a shame because I don't think anybody under 65 knows who Bobby Dodd is. They just repeat the name.
No.
You know.
Florida got his first real good football coach from Bobby Dodd. For those who don't know or probably don't care, but Florida football was dreadfully dull when I grew up. I mean, dreadfully dull. They kicked on third down. They never went for it. They couldn't. They played for ties. Bob Woodruff was.
That doesn't sound like Will Muschamp.
No, it was worse. He actually. Listen to this. Bob Woodruff playing Rice had the ball at midfield, tied 10-10, and ran the clock out. Okay?
Yes.
His famous quote was, well, why'd you do that? He said, well, I'll gamble to win, but never to lose. Hello, what does that mean? So, yeah, but Bob Woodruff.
Ties like kissing your sister, and he had a very good-looking sister, he thought.
Yeah. Well, then Ray Graves came along in 1960 from Bobby Dodd's staff, brought a guy named Pepper Rogers with him, and came along in 1960, and they won a bunch of games, including that famous game. They beat Georgia Tech, and they went for 2. So, Bobby Dodd, and Bobby Dodd's son played for Florida. He did that day. But Bobby Dodd, Georgia Tech was a powerhouse back in the day. Oh. They were really a powerhouse. You mentioned certain names like Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. They're monsters. So, anyway, I hope we never lose sight of the great ones.
Yeah, I think Florida fans can be thankful that Ben Hill Griffin wrote that big check in 1990 and got his name on there because it's not a corporate name. I mean, or he didn't insist on naming it, Florida Citrus Growers Stadium Inc.
Yeah, because
it just a lot less offensive when you have a human being's name on it, as opposed to a corporation, which that's obviously I don't think there's there are 2 in the NFL that don't that still don't have one. I know Lambeau Field. Soldier Field. I think that there's only 2 that aren't, something, AT&T Stadium and all the rest, blah, blah, blah. I've lost track of what the Gator Bowl is at this point, but Frank, that ship sailed long ago. I think you are going to start seeing it more in colleges. Like what you saw.
Everything's for sale.
Yeah. I like the Weed Whacker Bowl. That was one of my favorites. Yeah. Was that sponsored by like a lawn company or something?
Yeah.
Weed Whacker.
Yeah, Weed Whacker.
The old Gator Bowl. The structure was I know it was Alltel Stadium. Is it that? Whatever. Now it's been 2 or 3 different things.
The bank.
Yeah.
Chai Bank.
Yeah. You guys were just in a selfie with me, if you were wondering. I just selfied us together, so you know.
I'm honored to be in that selfie.
Yeah.
But
the MM. Listen to this. Excuse me. MM says Ray Graves was my best man at my wedding.
Oh,
one of the greatest guys I've ever met. Him and his wife wasn't Ann. No, her name was not Ann. Who can remember what her name was? It was not Ann.
Now that's a trivia question.
If he was your best man, you ought to know his wife's name. It was not Ann. I can tell you what it is. Okay, but I'd like to know more about it, MM. Tell us more. Who's your best friend? Okay, love to hear stories like that. All right, so back to my notes here. I want to ask you a question, David. Football, Gators. Florida went back to the practice field Sunday, their day 6 of training camp, and they're talking about these freshman receivers a lot. I was on Shane's show this morning. We talked about it again there. There's 3 of them, and Shane says that they remind him of when they had Riedel, Ike, and Kwesi on the same team. And these 3 guys, I mean, they're, when you put them all together, Ricky Pearsall, Eugene Wilson, Aiden Mizell, Khalil Jackson, etc. There's a lot of talk. I think we got some, I'm pretty sure we got some video here, Brenden, of them doing the passing drill. And with Billy Gonzalez being there, the master teacher that he is, you can see him work in the video. What he's doing. This could be a terrific group by the time the year gets over, and people can realize these guys, if they learn, like I think they will under Gonzalez, these guys are going to be, because they can fly. This Wilson kid, they call him Trey because Eugene Wilson III, son of a Gator. Aiden Mizell is something to behold. And they just got some terrific talent. And these are not just guys who are sprinters. They can play football. And they got, here you go. I think it's, look, he's teaching them the routes. So he's saying, I think he's saying, got the sound, turn your hips here.
Good, Taylor. Hips. Nice, Gator. Good, Jackson. Good, Berkey. Take more jab. Take steps, cross. Set. Turn your hips, Aiden. Hips. That's it. Hips. Good. Opposite way.
That's some good coaching right there. And I tell you, we talked about it on Shane's show. And Shane, we talked about Coach Spurrier. He was a stickler for disciplined routes. And I know that he loved you to hit your landmark. Brenden, you play a little wide receiver. You know what landmark is, where you got to be. And it's that you got to have at least exactly 7 steps from there. And Spurrier, for all his sort of laissez-faire attitude and his fun and gun stuff, he was a real stickler for detail. I like what I saw there with Billy Gonzalez, David.
Oh, he is, one thing that one coach held the other day at the open practice was technique wins every time. And you got to go out there and that, it's interesting to watch the sausage being made because it looks natural and easy on Saturdays a lot of times, but what goes into it are countless reps like you saw there, just to get that little separation. And the 3 guys that you mentioned, the 3 freshmen, they give them a dimension that they didn't have last year, and that's just a breakaway speed, guys. I mean, Pearsall's got some of it, but other than that, last year, they had a bunch of possession receivers pretty much. Now these guys, they're the long ball threats, which is always it's great to have planted in the back of a defensive coordinator's mind and the DB's mind that they can get burned going deep. And of course, then the question becomes: can Graham Mertz deliver the mail deep? I
don't know, David. I'm hearing more and more positive things about Mertz.
Yeah.
A lot of, and I trust Shane Matthews, who knows a little bit about playing quarterback.
Yeah, that's Billy Napier was asked that yesterday and thing, about the vertical passing game, which I think just means throwing deep, and he said that he's happy where it is right now. That he sees no reason it can't be a big weapon for him. And that and those 3 guys, that will be, when you're just thinking about, man, I really looking forward to that first game just to see what's there, and that will be the thing that a lot of people are going to be concentrated, just waiting to see it. You're hearing so much about these kids.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some video in there today where they were working a little bit, the little bit of option the fake option and a lot of that old school stuff, freezing linebackers and get those guys in space and let them have that speed. I'll try to cue some of that up, but it's very indicative of what's going to be coming. What we're going to be seeing in this offense this year.
Yeah, and if there's ever been a position where a rookie as
read option,
can come in and play right away, it's wide receiver, because there's so much, just natural talent that it takes. I mean, when you go down, it's rare that a freshman will come in and start on offensive line or defensive line, something or even linebacker. But receiver, it's a little bit easier to make an instant impact. You've seen it, and so it's gonna. Next thing is if they are good, they're gonna have to come up with a nickname for these three guys. So
Three Amigos
on that.
Three Amigos. I'm from Colorado.
That's been used.
Yeah,
I'm aware of that.
Three Musketeers.
Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
Tres Hombres.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Great movie, by the way.
Dave,
Tres Hombres.
Let me just get like a bone to pick you, David. Your name came up this morning, and you got
You're in
booed.
trouble.
You got booed. Your remark about I didn't read this. I'm coming in the third hand here, and Shane told me, somebody else told me that you wrote. I didn't see this column that one of the weaknesses of the team might be the offensive line. True or false?
I said that would be my biggest worry going in. I said they could be very good, or you don't know, and it's strictly because you're replacing really 3.5 starters, but 4 starters. And anytime you replace 4 out of 5 people, I think there's question marks that come with it. And when you look at the other, and not only that, but so much depends on these guys. If they're a bunch of linebackers, they're a bunch of they have depth. I think on the defensive side, there are question marks in the secondary for sure. But to me, so much is riding on where does it start? Graham Mertz, and Graham Mertz needs an offensive line in front of him. And the other strength of this team is the running attack. But those two guys, they're not going to be able to block for themselves. They need good blockers in front of them. So if the line is good, I think then all these things we're saying about how the potential of this offense, it could max out. If the line isn't good, then you got big problems, because it doesn't matter how good those backs are. It doesn't matter how good Mertz might be. If that was his problem one of them up at Wisconsin, the supporting cast. He's not the kind of guy who's going to go out there and win a game by himself. Generally, he needs protection. He needs time to throw and all that kind of stuff. And so when you look at it on that line, I think you don't worry much about Kingsley at center or Austin Barber at tackle, but those are the only 2 guys that have really proven themselves. The others, they're coming in and they're transfers. They could be good.
Damian George, Alabama.
Right.
Gigantic guy.
Gigantic. Yeah. But there are a
Right
lot of
side of the
gigantic
line.
guys out there. And he very well maybe as good as he was billed coming into Alabama. But, my deal with transfers, unless it's an obvious just case of this guy was great and he got paid an extra $500,000 to come to switch schools, is if he was that good, he wouldn't have left his, something wasn't, it's like Graham Mertz, he may be great here, one great at Wisconsin. Damian George, I think, I would go out and get him too. But, if he was that proven, Alabama wouldn't have let him go. So, there's potential there. I think there's potential for this line to be good. Yeah, and there's also potential for it, depth. The young guys they got show a lot of promise, but I'm just talking about proven commodities on that line.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't a lot.
Have you heard of Richie Leonard?
I know he started 2 games.
Yeah,
according
to what Austin Barber told me in an interview, he really thinks he's a good player.
Well, I think he very well may be a good player.
Michael Mazuka.
Mm-hmm. Very well,
street fighter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, you hear these great things. I just want to see it. I'm not saying they can't do it.
We want to see all of it. But one of the things I'm hearing from people I've interviewed, not that I'm any better reporter with you, I'm not.
Yeah.
I just see what people. Jake Slaughter, by the way, Trinity kid, he's been playing center, moved to guard, really blossom up. again, the players talk about him. They're telling him about Jake Slaughter. So I'm just saying that there's more talent there than you think. They're huge. Brenden, you saw them today on the hoof. And I think, but I'm pretty sure that Rob Sale is happy and Darnell Stapleton likes what they got, likes the hand. They lost a guy, but the offensive line could very well be one of the strengths of this team. We'll see. But that's just me saying it. Like you say, I got to prove it. I think it's a strength, and I think with their running backs getting it to the hole quick like they can, they've got 4 good running backs. I think we already established they got some burners at wide receiver. Mertz is a better quarterback than anybody thinks. If you listen to guys like Urban Meyer and told me personally he liked him a lot, and of course Shane, who played for 6 NFL teams and did a pretty good job at Florida as a quarterback. I'm just saying I love you, David, and you're a very good reporter, but on this one, we don't agree.
Well, I'm not saying they're going to be bad. I'm just saying that given the body of work that we have going in, they have more to prove than any other position.
Okay. I think that's fair. I mean, I think he looks good, David. I think looks big. He looks all that. Can we bring in Kyle? Because Kyle's here, and I think he's getting antsy. So Kyle was there today. Kyle Curtis was at practice today. Hey, Kyle, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, good. Kyle, what was your take on Graham Mertz today when you and I were discussing it earlier today on the afternoon show? Talk to us about what you saw out there.
Yeah, it was cool. It was they did a lot of cool stuff with the quarterbacks today versus the generic slant routes, post routes, out routes they do. They had some read options they were doing, which I thought was really intriguing. Being able to, that's showing that, just because AR is not on the offense, they're still willing to, let the quarterbacks go after it and run a little bit. And then another cool thing that I thought was pretty cool was they were lining the wide receivers up in the backfield and having them run routes out of there. Ricky Pearsall, they were putting a lot of those speedsters, kind of Eugene Wilson, Adam Mazzell, a lot of those young guys, speedy guys, putting them out of the backfield to run routes as well, which I thought was pretty cool. But it looks like Napier's getting creative, and it was fun to see it.
What's all the buzz about the team, Kyle?
The buzz right now is what I was just saying. Those Napier's been talking about how these young guys, especially the wide receivers, are lighting it up. Even the defensive backs have been playing very well. So the wide receiver, defensive back, safety combo, I think is really just competing at a really high level. Eugene Wilson, like we said, the 5-star recruit, apparently lit it up in practice the other day. Here's some of them doing. These are kind of the workouts they were doing, and everyone's looking really good. It looks like I said earlier on the show, Jaquavion Fraziers looks like he's an absolute bodybuilder right now.
My guy, I told you to watch out for Jaquavion. Number 1, he's going to be a player. He's tall, he's quick, he's got new body, and he's smart, and he's got good hands. You watch, he'll be a factor this year.
Oh, I think so for sure. And just seeing Coach Billy Gonzalez work. He's, really putting a lot of time into those freshman guys going through the routes. Andy Jean, Adam Mazzell, Eugene Wilson, I think are all going to be early contributors for the Gators. So if any buzz is coming out of this fall practice, I would definitely say that it's, the speed and stuff coming out of the young guys.
Yeah. Well, David and I were having a discussion about the offensive line. It's early to tell. He has a different opinion than I do, and that's okay. That's what makes a horse race. He may be right. I think the offensive line is one of the strengths of the team. David thinks it remains to be seen. I don't think he's as high, but that's okay. Listen, I said on Brady's show this morning, Brady. I keep thinking of Brady. I keep thinking of Brady Ackerman. I got in my mind all day long. So Shane's show this morning that this team it could be 9-3 and could be 3-9, but right now it's trending upward. And I said to Shane, maybe we are wishfully thinking this. Maybe it's more wishful thinking than actual fact. So given the 15 minutes we have to see these videos and stuff, there's not much we really know as we watch Billy Gonzalez working again here. I love how he works. And you were there, you saw it, Kyle, and we're leaning on you for the flavors of what happened there. And it's going to be it's going to be an interesting season. I guarantee you that.
it's going to be fun to watch. And talk about the offensive line, I wouldn't say that they're the strongest. I wouldn't say that they're the weakest unit. I think it's a lot of unknown coming in, and playing. It's a lot of different puzzle pieces right now with a lot of different transfers coming in. But one thing I will say is the running back room is one of the strongest on the team, and I think that's going to help the offensive line out a little bit. I think that's going to relieve some stress. I think that's going to open up the play action for Graham Mertz if you're able to establish that run game early. And honestly, I think the three-headed backfield that we have right now are all good guys, and it'll honestly just make all facets of the offense a little bit better.
They got 4, I think, back there. But anyway, yeah, so it's going to be fun to watch. Well, we know where Billy's putting his emphasis. That's why he has 2 offensive line coaches. And they know they can run the football. They'll probably have as good a tandem as there is in the country in running backs. And they've got we got the speedy wide receivers now. We haven't brought up the defense yet. That's another question. But even there, I think there's some light on what's going on.
I wanted to ask you too, Kyle. There was a bunch of buzz on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it today that they said that I guess whoever was at practice or whatever, that Brown was taking 3rd string snaps or whatever. Did you notice Max Brown kind of pushed to the back after open practice on Saturday, where he seemingly was taking the number 2 snaps?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of hard to tell out there who's in the quarterback battle. It looks like Graham Mertz is obviously kind of leading that pack, but I still think that fight for the 2nd spot still kind of undecided. But it's kind of hard to tell out there when they're just kind of going through the motions. Billy Napier tries to kind of keep things going, always moving around. It's hard to, especially when we're in there for that 15-minute period. It's kind of just, I don't know. David's been there a few times. You can speak on it a little bit, but it's hard to tell kind of in that 15-minute period, the starting lineups based off how they kind of conduct those, player workouts.
Yeah, I think they've impressed with Brown and how he's improved, from last year to this. And, he gives them the dimension that the other 2 don't, is that he can tuck it under, and he's a threat to go 30, 40 yards with the ball. And so that might give him a change of pace. But, Billy says that, he sort of all but said that he'll name a starter after Thursday's scrimmage. And so he might do it on Friday. I mean, I think, we would all pretty much faint if the words of Graham Mertz don't come out of his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And so then it will be, and you don't really have to say, my number 2 guy is this. And so it's competitive, because, at this point, once you name your guy, you want to stick with that guy. You don't want to think, but if he does stink or get hurt, we'll go with this guy. Just, go with Mertz and say, that you guys are competitive. They both, Miller's looked like Miller, dependable. But, Brown just has sort of more of a wow factor to him that intrigues me.
Well, but let's play the game though. Like the scenario, what if Graham Mertz goes out, they lose at Utah, he throws 4 or 5 picks, looks really bad, comes back the next game. At what point do you think, Billy, because it's not like he's like his guy, right? I know he's a starter, but it'll be interesting to see how long he would stick with Mertz if he was, sort of playing the way he had been playing, to some degree at Wisconsin. Billy hates turnovers like any head coach does. But look at what happened to AR. I mean, this is the guy that is like touted as like the next coming in the NFL. It gets in your head playing in the SEC in the swamp, and you're in a fishbowl here. I mean, those questions. One of the big. I mean, look, we all deal with the fans. A Gator fan, and it's not exactly for the faint of heart. I think when things are going bad. So what do you think, David? How do you think that sort of plays out? You think just play my game, David. Play my game.
Sure, no, yeah. Well, last year, of course, I think he had to stick with AR because AR had such great top end potential, and B there was nobody else. Yeah. This year he does. You can picture at least it's sort of what you're getting in Miller. He's been in there, or Brown, so you you knew that there would be a massive drop off from. I mean, unless Arrow went out there and was throwing 6 interceptions, that there would be a massive drop off with whoever you put in there. This year there won't be that. No. If as you said, we're just entertaining. I guess we're being playing the pessimist game.
Well,
here we are. Mertz does.
Yeah,
but no. If you're war gaming this, you got a war game for the best scenario and the worst scenario.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, if it's the worst scenario, who does he go with? Depends on who he puts in. If Graham Mertz, I would have a hard time thinking he would give Graham Mertz the hook in the first game unless he falls flat.
Yeah.
But if it did, people talk about playing on the road and how tough that is. But it only seats like 51,000. It's not like they're walking into the shoe at Ohio State or Tiger Stadium, where I think it's going to be that intimidating if you did put Max Brown in there. But I would be surprised if it did come to that and they need to go with the number 2 guy on August 27th, 20th, whenever it is, that they don't that Miller wouldn't be the first guy in there. But I'm sure if Mertz has a bad game, he'll get it's not like a one and done. He'll get plenty of chances to go out there and prove that he's everything that Billy thinks he is.
Well, and Kyle, I'd ask you the same question, but I'm more of a it becomes about survival a little bit too. People are going to be calling for Billy's head if he goes out there and starts stinking it up. You don't need Feinbaum on your ass again, like he seemingly already does. How these go with Gator Nation and with anybody else. I know there's a recruiting class coming in that's supposed to be the next thing with Lagway and all of his buddies and everybody else that he's been recruiting. But end of the day, it gets pretty ugly when things start turning south. And 5 wins. 5 wins, if as you're saying, David, that will be a very difficult season to navigate. I feel like, at least as far as public opinion.
Oh, that would make for some lot of heat on the airwaves.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah, that would do it. I still, even if it is 5 wins, that the faith that Scott Strickland has in him will carry him through. He'll get he'll be on a hot seat, but he's going to get at least 3 years.
Yeah,
and get a chance to get that recruiting class in here and doing something.
Yeah.
But yeah, the a third straight losing season, and there are a lot of sobering scenarios you could paint for that. It would be long and difficult. And yeah, and it's funny. How it is. Fans are fickle, and Mertz will be a hero, and but we've seen it. Anybody's watched any football for any amount of time knows that. A quarterback can go from hero to zero pretty fast in fans' eyes.
Yeah, well, then you're stuck with 2 proven guys. Kyle, what? Give me your 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I think Billy's gonna have to. I agree with David. I think 3, maybe even 4 years. I think that he'll have to get it going. I don't see Florida. I see Florida exceeding 5 wins. And then for the quarterbacks, I think Graham Mertz is, I wouldn't say he's on like an extremely long leash as maybe like Caleb Williams or something like that, but he's on a decently long leash to where, if he has a bad game here or there, then, he's not just going to get kicked to the curb. But I also think that, if he was to go down or say he was to get benched at some point throughout the season, then I think it would just kind of depend in the moment, depend the situation, kind of where you're at in the season. I think, if the season's kind of already in the dust, then maybe you just throw Max Brown out there. If it's early, then I would see, and, if there's still a lot of stuff to play for, I would see maybe Jack Miller coming in and starting right out the gate, especially on a short notice.
Yeah. Hey, guys, come on. If Shane was here right now, he'd be swearing at you guys.
What would he
maybe? I feel like
let me speak for a second.
Maybe you would.
Let me speak for a second. Let me speak for a second,
like
please.
all the time.
Okay, I'm going to speak. He started 32 games. Okay,
yeah.
He's not some kid off the street. He's played big time football. How all of a sudden did he get flies all over him? Somebody make it. Shane says if he had any other helmet except a W on the side, if he had an A on the side, we would say, "Oh, what a great quarterback he is." It's really gotten out of hand. It really is. Look, he's not going to be Tim Tebow. He's not going to be. He didn't have to win the games. Okay, he's just got to. But he can throw the ball deep, according to my sources, and we're talking to like he's some bum off the street. He's a starter in the Big Ten for 3 years.
We're not talking. We were just playing a game.
I know.
We're playing my game.
Okay,
I know. Yeah, we're playing.
I think this is gonna
blame the dinosaur of my child. This is Brittany. It's her game. Okay, that's Brittany.
A game I'd like to throw it would be if and inevitably one guy's going to get hurt. I mean, hopefully not, but if they are, then you think about it, then they're down to 2 actual quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and I mean, if they did, if worse did come to worse, and like 2 guys got hurt, or something like who do you put it in? Then you're having a casting call for guys who played QB.
What if they all got hurt? Every one of them got hurt. All 3 quarterbacks got hurt. I mean, what if a bomb fell on Gainesville, for crying out loud?
Right.
What if the sky fell?
It's
good.
It's very unusual for a team to have to go 3 deep at court, and that's it, and not have any for. I mean, most have. I remember, what was it? Kerwin came in. He was 7th string way back in the day, and he moved on up. They don't have a 4th string. Not that you ever want to get to a 4th string, but it's just you don't want to be thin anywhere. But man, if they did have this spate of injuries, who do you have? If 2 guys were nicked up, and you got Max Brown is starting, or even Mertz. It's just very interesting to me that they desperately wanted a 4th QB in that room.
Yeah.
And they tried to get one in spring practice, but who was it that fell through? Didn't come. I forgot.
Rashad, what are you talking about? Rashada? Or are you talking about?
No. In spring, Rashada was
gone by then. Yeah.
No, Rashada was playing at in that Big 12 school, Arizona, at that point. And so, but they wanted just from a comfort standpoint, you like to see a lot of faces in that QB room, not 3.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask this guy right here who just showed up. Lauren Meadows joins us. Hey, Lauren, how are you?
You got goodies.
Hey guys,
good. How are you, Lauren? Have you been listening to this amazing conversation that we got in trouble for having by Dad? We're not.
I have. It's been quite interesting.
Yeah. What do you think? You got to take, or you're just you're going to come and just give away stuff and leave, and everyone's going to like you?
No, I got a little weigh in. As far as Graham Mertz is concerned, I think that. Like I said, I'm pretty bullish on Mertz. I think that he's going to be. I mean, he's actually, what is he? Six games above 500 as a starter, even at Wisconsin, and I think he's played in some high pressure situations. I think he's going to be fine. I think, like I said, Wisconsin wanted him to stay. From my understanding, they did not want him to leave, but I think he wanted to come somewhere and play in an offense where his talents could be showcased and maybe that he could flourish with a little bit better talent. So, I mean, I think in the long run, I think Mertz will be fine, as long as he can stay healthy. So, I mean, as far as that conversation is concerned, I really do think Mertz is going to be one of the bright spots for the Florida Gators this year. I think he'll enhance the offense. And, those of us that, kind of know the nuances of the game, you have to be able to get into the right run play, get out of the wrong pass play and things like that. And I think, you heard Anthony Richardson, unfortunately, come to a lot of the press conferences, even when he played well, and he would say, I missed a check, or I forgot to send this guy in motion and things like that. I think those things will be eliminated with Graham Mertz. Now, will it make the Gators better in the long run? No, but in that key situation where those things matter, I mean, it could make a difference. So
check, please.
That's
check,
kind of
please. Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah. I think where will make a difference is I think Billy Napier might sleep a little bit better on Friday nights before games, knowing that, all right, I got a QB in there I know is going to take care of those things. As I say, he's not going to break an 80-yard run, but he's not going to come in and say, gosh, I missed this fit. The check plays that you mentioned, that is where I think he will excel. And the dependability factor will be a little higher this year.
Yeah. Lauren, what do you think? Just, if that did, I guess, first of all, Billy, Kyle and I talked this earlier, Billy did say he was going to go get somebody else, in the portal. Like even when he had Graham Mertz at one point, he said, I think was the end of last year. He said, I gotta go get another quarterback, or I'm going to go get a quarterback.
I think it was Orange and Blue game.
Orange and Blue game. So, it's not that, we may be saying all this stuff, but it's all about your head coach who's got to have confidence in you. And I'm not saying he doesn't.
Well,
but
right. Well, and I don't think you can look at it necessarily as that to be a representation of how much confidence he has. I think you just maybe it could be a situation where maybe he doesn't have confidence in what's behind him, and that could be one thing too. Like he knows Mertz is in the bag, but if Mertz does not, play well or gets hurt, then, I don't think we saw a great, it wasn't a great showing for Jack Miller in the bowl game. And then, and
you don't say.
And there's Max Brown.
Right.
And so, yeah. So, I mean, I think maybe just trying to add some depth and still be able to salvage a season, should the quarterback go down. But you know what? I mean, when we really look at it, I mean, you look at even last year when Bryce Young went down and they had to play the young kid. I mean, there's a lot of teams, and it's been through history. I mean, we can go back to a lot of different teams. Just you can name them. I mean, where would certain teams have been if that quarterback wouldn't have made it through the season? Some of your greatest teams. I mean, what if Joe Burrow would have got hurt? I mean, you don't know what could happen. So a lot of teams usually go into the season with one quarterback.
Yeah,
so,
it's not new.
I mean, I think that's one of those things that, that's football, man. A lot of times, I mean, people, it's always funny. People will say, well, we don't have a backup, or, and they expect the backup to be as good as a starter. And then in the same breath, they'll use that old quote, well, if you got two quarterbacks, you got none. Now, which one is it? You got to, and so you got one guy, that's the guy. You may try to bring in some depth behind him, but I would think that Billy Napier trying to go out and get another quarterback could be the fact that he doesn't necessarily like what he has behind Mertz. I can't really think that he brought in a guy that started 32 games in the second best conference in college football, and he didn't expect for him to go hard. So. I mean, that's just
all right. Let me just ask Kyle for a close and personal comment today about practice. You shot some really good video there today. It looked like it was pretty smooth. I came away impressed in your video by the detail. What I know, Billy Gonzalez is that probably as good a coach as there is at wide receivers. What did you see there? What do you think about it? And what was your takeaway, Kyle, at the end of the day after being out there today and talking to some players?
Being able to, I was able to get pretty close, and to me it was really just the attention to detail. I mean, if these guys weren't, I think here is the they're getting off the ball, slapping the defender's hands down to try to get her, yeah. But the attention to detail here is just insane. If you're not doing the
look at that, look at him right there. Move your hips. Look at that.
He's walking them through, energetic all throughout. And, like I said earlier, the main thing that stuck out to me was, he's really focusing in on those, freshman guys, making sure they get that good foundation. Yeah, there's Andy Jean right there. But, yeah.
Boy, he looks great.
Yes. And, but yeah, I mean, and you can tell how much this means to him, too. The way he was looking at all those guys and telling them to, get another rep in. So it was cool seeing Billy do all that stuff, but it made me excited for the wide receiver room, honestly, just seeing all those young guys do their thing, and then seeing Ricky, who is obviously just a route technician, kind of teach those guys.
Brenden, do you have that bite there about Billy talking about Truth Teller?
No, I don't have it loaded up.
All right, I really like that bite a lot.
I
and it's, he said in the press conference earlier, we're all about truth teller, tell the truth to each other, live the truth, play the truth, be the truth. I love that part of his coaching. It's part of the key strategy for building infrastructure. Lauren, you know this. You coach teams. When you get teams believing in the strong principles, they commit to each other. And like he said, integrity is going out and telling your friends, telling your teammates, you're going to play as hard as he does, and then doing it. And the worst thing you can do as a teammate is not show up. Lauren, am I wrong about that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you got to know, it's the whole foxhole theory. We're in this foxhole together, and when I need to count on you, I need you to be there. And I think that that's one of the things that, is overlooked sometime with teams is, we talk about everybody doing their job, but one of the reasons why you're so committed to doing your job is you want to do the best you can for the guy next to you. And, and that's the thing that, and I think, in this case, when you look at, Billy Gonzalez from his time at Florida, he likes to play a bunch of guys, which means that, he doesn't expect, if he goes from the first group of 2 or 3 and then he drops down to the second group of 2 or 3, you really don't expect a drop off, and if you, as the clip runs and things like that, you just see a number of different releases and things like that. And just, how, he's got his back turned, for instance, because, he teaches kind of that grabbing cloth when they cross face and things like that, on, defenders inside, and you're trying to get back inside. And just like I said, just the difference in the aggressiveness that, the receivers will play with. Like I said, the attention to the detail. If you look on the releases, everybody's getting vertical like you want. You don't want them wasting steps. So, I mean,
a whole wide receiver right there talking like that. You don't tell.
Just buying into the whole deal. And Kerry Colbert was extremely popular with some of the players and things like that. And, was instrumental in recruiting, a few of those guys. And here comes Billy Gonzalez. But the thing about it is that pedigree and, with, like Kyle said, Ricky Pearsall, kind of the leader of that group, showing guys, talking to them. It just filters down to the rest of the unit. And it could be, like I've said before, I think the receivers are going to be much improved.
Right. So,
this
good
year.
job. I want to say thank you, Kyle. Great job on the practice. We got to get a commercial break in here. We come back. If you can stay with us, David, you and Lauren, we'll talk about the 5 most iconic SEC players since 2000. All right. Think about it. All right. Let's hear that. Hit that. I've always said if I come back, I want to come back as this guy, Jeffrey Melton. He has this grueling profession, yet he has so much fun all the time. Jeffrey, it seems like you're either going off on a road trip with the Gator football team, or you're dancing with the stars, or something, trying out for the Gator band. That's what you need to do, get in that Gator band.
Well, the secret is, buddy, I modeled myself after you.
Yeah, well, that means it lasts about a half an hour and you're done. That's it for me. But seriously, you've always got a good smile on your face, and you're happy, and you love people. I've seen you a lot of times. It is possible to have fun in life and still deal with the stress, right?
Yes, I think one of the keys is surrounding yourself with a team that does the things that you don't want to do or you're not good at. And so that's really one of the things that we focus in on at Meldon Law is having a team approach where I may be good at one thing and somebody else may do something else better. So and that really relates to football as well, right?
Right. I looked at your roster just a few minutes ago. You've got quite a roster, starting with Jeffrey at the top and Kerry and on down, quite a staff. So it is a team approach, and Meldon Law's been doing it well for a long time and will be doing it well. So if you need legal help, go see them. They'll take care of your business. And if you don't know what kind of law you need, Jeffrey and his team will tell you what kind of law you need. Right, Jeffrey?
Lauren Meadows with Gator Bait Media here, coming to you live from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill with Tuesday Night Trivia. Cal Pitts was Florida's last unanimous All-American selection. On offense, who was Florida's last unanimous All-American selection on defense? Here's a hint. He played for both Will Muschamp and Jim McElwain. And don't forget, on Monday, August 14th, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's second-year celebration, hosted by Coach Steve Spurrier and his wife, Ms. Jerry Spurrier. Proceeds to benefit the Ronald McDonald House Charities of North Central Florida. With Gator Bait Media, this is Lauren Meadows with Tuesday Night Trivia.
All right, what's the trivia question?
Trivia question is, who was Cal Pitts was Florida's last unanimous All-American on offense, and who was Florida's last unanimous All-American on defense? And the hint was he played for both McElwain and Muschamp.
All right, let's see if anybody tried that. That's a little harder. You've been kind of shutting them out lately.
I think you got to. Can you repeat the question, sir? Can you? I didn't understand.
Basically, who was Florida's last unanimous All-American selection?
Okay.
On defense.
Okay.
On
All
defense.
right, gotcha.
And he played for Muschamp.
I'm gonna start. Should I start
McElwain.
popping up the answers and see what people?
No, well, can't they see him?
Yeah, I can see
they
him.
can see him. Yeah,
You can see them. So if you see one winner, you let me know.
he'll tell you. He'll tell you what he's got going on there. All right, so let's go back to the question here real fast.
Well, before that, buddy, I just want to say if you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, and then you'll get notifications when we're live. We've been for years on Facebook, and now we're on YouTube. So there's a little bell at the bottom there. Click subscribe. Really helps us out. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, and once we get there, we can do cool things like super chats and whatever. So hit subscribe, and thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
Good job, Brenden. And thanks to JJ Trucking out there who is really campaigning for us to get likes. They keep saying, hey, we've got 67 people watching. Let's go. Everybody.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Here's the question.
Yes, sir.
Question. All right. David, you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Have you had your cookies and milk yet? Is it getting bedtime for you?
Well, he always cuts out, so I always never wonder.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to have a conversation.
It's a long story about his.
I know.
It's a long story, but I will.
Just bring it down to me. I'll take care of it. I'll fix it for you. Okay, David.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so here it is. 5 most iconic SEC players since 2000. You could probably think of 2 or 3 easily. This is just, I think this is Saturday down south. All right, so who's got any answers? Who wants to take a shot? We know Tebow, okay, so he would be a sure thing. Who else would you name? 5 most iconic players since 2000. David, you got one?
You got to go with Cam Newton.
Got him. He's there. He's one.
Yeah, he's hard to believe they were on the same team at one point. He and Tebow.
True. That's right.
Johnny Manziel.
He's one. That's 3.
Yeah.
Those are the first 3.
Do you go with Stetson Bennett just because no one else ever did what he's done?
I think when you hear their answers, you'll know here. You got one guy who really made a huge difference, transferred into a team. They won the national championship.
Joe Burrow.
That's right.
Joe Burrow.
And finally, this guy picked the running back that's doing so great in the NFL. Could tote the rock pretty good. And
Derrick Henry.
All right, you guys got them all. Good job. All right. Anybody got the answer yet?
Yeah, Buck Wade.
BH3. Is that right?
Buck
There you
Wade.
go.
Vernon Hargraves the third.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Correct.
Right.
What do you got to do to get your prize? Because they always email me, and I'm like, you got to talk to Lauren.
So please, you can reach out to us on the Gator Bait page on Facebook Messenger, or
don't you have an email for this?
Contact me. No email. Contact. We can.
I'm gonna make you an email for this, so we can just put it right in there, and everyone can have it. All right.
Right. Well, and then until then, or you could contact me directly. Most of the people follow me here on Facebook. Contact me directly on Facebook Messenger.
Oh,
and we'll take
I put
care
the
of
wrong one up here, Buckwild. Sorry, it switched on me so fast. The chat's brocking tonight. So Buckwild, there you go. Sorry, there's your moment.
Buckwade.
I kind of like Buck Wild because that reminds me of the MTV show.
Why not change the guy's name? Who cares? Right, just change his name. Okay, so
watch out, buddy. He's really, really on the edge tonight for Lauren. Just so you know,
for good reason. I might
really, good reason. He's pissed. So
all right, so if we can just get enough time in to get close the show up, David, what you writing about this week?
Love you.
Writing about tomorrow. Wrote about the injury reports and how Brian Kelly came out last week and said that he's going to start publicizing them, making them like the NFL does. And I think it's high time they did that. Billy's pretty open with his, but Dan Mullen was notoriously closed with his, and he's not the only one. But I think given the advent of gambling and the problems that causes, the more transparency, the better.
Well, Pete Rozelle did that when he took over the NFL, and he worked with the bookies. And they said, "What do you want to know? We need to know the injuries." So he started the injury reports. Of course, Belichick put Tom Brady on every week, so But no, you got to do that. I mean, for sure. Lauren, so what you got coming up here, Lauren? Next couple of days, you got a couple of stories going playing. You got 5 stories for Brenden.
Yeah.
yeah. We'll probably we'll take a look at maybe a couple things coming out of fall practice or going into fall and coming out of training camp. Maybe some tidbits of what to look for in the second week of training camp, something like that.
Okay.
But hope to get to practice in the next couple of days a little bit and check them out. So we'll find some storylines somewhere.
David, a story today that Dudley Hart, a former BJ Tour player who was the assistant coach on the national championship Gator team, was named assistant coach of the year in golf. Unusual. Guy comes off the tour, coaches college, and apparently had played a big role, I guess, in the Gators national championship in golf. So nice story. Congratulations, Dudley.
Yeah, I didn't know they had an assistant coach of the year, but since they do, he is the most deserving guy I can think of. I mean, you saw what impact he had on. If you saw that last round they played when they beat Georgia Tech for the championship, he was, he was. You could tell he was part of the glue that held that team together.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, let's go wrap it up for the night. Appreciate it. Anything else, Brenden, before we do the Red Star commercial?
No, I'm afraid to talk. I'm just gonna sit in my corner with my dinosaur.
Good, we like that. That's good. We a new change. Give me a new hat,
buddy. I would
give me a new hat tomorrow that has Gatorade spelled.
Give me some hats, Shane. Everyone, I need some hats,
buddy. Before we go, I want to say, unfortunately, rest in peace to one of my former college coaches, Mike Meyer. Unfortunately, passed this past weekend. His son Jordan is a big Gator fan. Actually got to make his first trip to the Swamp for the UK game during COVID. So, but unfortunately, Coach Meyer was our defensive coordinator at Ohio Northern, and young guy, unfortunately, had a heart attack. So he'll be.
Sorry for your loss, Lauren. It's a shame. Way too early. All right, Nat Laylock is in there for you, your bro. He wants to take you out again and to Spurriers and get you another meal.
Well, I wanted to say hi to Nat because I love that guy. So what's up, Nat?
He was my ride. He was my ride to Spurriers to shoot the commercial.
Yeah. All right, he got his mention. That's all you get, Nat.
Whatever, Nat. I'm coming up. Me, you, and Lauren, we're going out.
One of our original GNKers, one of the good guys, Nat Blaylock.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Brenden and I'll stay here and do the rest. Thank you, David. Thank
you,
David.
See you later.
See you.
Night, Lauren.
All right, let's talk about Renstar. First, we thank our regular sponsors tonight, TitanMRI.com, and Meldon Law. Always appreciate what they do for us. And these are special people. They live right here in Ocala. They do a lot for us in our downtown area. They're stakeholders there. They support the community in a big way. They also have a big role in our health. Renstar Medical Research has a proven reputation as a patient-centered clinical research facility. They bring cutting-edge clinical research trials to Ocala in areas like dementia, Alzheimer's, psoriasis, osteoarthritis, migraine, fibromyalgia, and many other conditions that affect our community. Since their inception in 1998, Renstar participated in more than 700 clinical research trials and continues to partner with prominent pharmaceutical and biomedical companies throughout the medical industry. If you'd like to take part in these clinical research things, you can do that. Just go to renstar.net, find out the details. If you qualify, you can be compensated for time and travel. Ready, Brenden? Renstar Medical Research.
Tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. I just did it for you.
Renstar Medical Research. Tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
All right. That's it?
I'm sure the sponsors love that. That's great.
Are you done?
Okay.
Are you going to wrap it up now? I know. So you're just going to – I felt like tonight you're just going to do like a walk-off. Like you're just
Could be. Good night.
Like that's it. Good night, everybody. Good night, buddy. No. And I will say, everybody check us out on YouTube. Hit subscribe. go to GatorbaitMedia.com. And please read Buddy, Franz, Lauren, and all the cast of thousands there. And we will say goodnight, and I will put up Ren Star's logo one more time and say thanks to those guys. So good night, everybody.